I remember the first time I flew into LA after I'd seen this. There was still huge smog there. And that's what you saw driving in from the airport. It was just amazing. I was like, whoa, I love this. And I think the whole use of contrast in this, they're just the most incredible images. No fear, just huge amounts of backlight and a bounce that comes off something that's nearby. I saw an explanation online of how one of these shots was, this shot, was lit. And it was just, oh, for God's sake. They'd reproduced it on a website, no film school, and the guy had explained how they lit this. And he had like 5 lights around it. And it was a style that was used a lot in commercials at the time. Ridley Scott involved. And it was actually the RSA house style. I shot a lot for RSA after this, but still the same house style, where you used a mega motherfucker of a backlight and then a piece of poly here to bounce back in. That's it. You're lit. Simple. Nothing difficult at all. And they were coming up with this weird approach to get this in the light coming on the eyes. Now that's a piece of really cool work. Basically using a porta prompt, 45-degree semi-silvered mirror. Camera's here, and you put the lamp here on a dimmer, and it reflects off the front into the eyes and gives you red eye. And you can use different colours in it. And what you do is when you want her eyes to glow, you just dim this light up into her eyes. No post. It's just done in camera. Really simple.
Where would the mirror be then in relation to the camera?
The camera lens would be like that, right close to the mirror. Same as you would be with a porta prompt, auto cue, and then just bang. That approach of hard backlight and bounce it back in was used a lot in commercials in the late 80s, early 90s.
That's pretty good. I'd be pretty happy with that if I'd done that. The scale, the light coming through the window, lighting the air, the atmos. Also a very important thing for me in my work. I've always liked that sense of light. Nice camera, look at that. Oh, it was a bit wobbly there, but look, the rim, it's all so textural and edged, isn't it? They're probably on brutes coming through the window in those days. 254 amps each. We would now do this. You'd probably achieve that with 4 kilowatts. That's anamorphic, yeah. You can see the texture, you see the highlights are not quite round. Yeah, that's one thing some people are very obsessed with. That shows you're on an old anamorphic lens. Just the texture, the smoke, the atmosphere of these things, I think gave us permission, in a way, to be bolder in our work.
It's such an influential film in terms of light and...
Do you have any favourite scenes that you
Everyone... No, I just love the whole thing. There's one shot towards the end, and he's lit through a Venetian blind really hard, and she's lit with soft bounce. And of course, one of the things I've always said to actors, which I find makes them comfortable, is because they always want to know how you're going to light them. And I say, I like them so women look gorgeous, men look hunky. And they all kind of go away happy at that. And in that one shot, he's made the man look hunky and the woman look gorgeous at the same time. It's quite remarkable. Obviously another classic shot that's been used again and again in music videos, but that was the first time.
And Ridley, they came through from commercials. So he developed a lot of that look on his commercials, big cars, and where he had lots and lots of money and time to play. I think that's one of the useful things about doing commercials. You take time to play, you can try things out, and then once you've got that way of doing it, it might have taken you quite a while to get there, but then you've got that in your pocket as a tool. You then now have the quick route to doing that, where that light is, in that way to get there quicker. There was a point at which they went over to what we call cracked oil. which is atmospherically much easier to work with. The new versions of it is completely safe. Whether they had crackers on that, otherwise they would have had to have pretty big B guns, and they would have had to fill up whole studios with the Atmos. It's quite hard work keeping it consistent. It's beautiful textual stuff, isn't it? I mean, some of this is coming through film. Some of it is how it was processed at the time. Probably if you went back to the original film now and re-scanned it, you could get a different look out of it. That's a sort of printedly look, isn't it? Shows up very specifically there.
I mean, it's also the moving lights in it. You know, changing light as it kind of glows a bit lighter as the lights outside move. Just the whole thing it's hugely influential. Yes, it steals from Citizen Kane. I can show you scenes in Citizen Kane that, you know, have been used in this. Equally, I can show you scenes in Raiders of the Lost Ark that come from Citizen Kane. That was a staggeringly influential film.
They've been redoing this, haven't they? Roger has been... I don't know, how do you do this again?
Well, from what we've seen, I mean, Deakins has taken this and taken it further. The stuff I've seen from the latest version of Blade Runner, it builds on this. And it, as I say, it takes it further. It's quite amazing. You see something, you look at an image and go, oh God, I wish I'd shot that. That's actually quite rare. And looking at the images of Deakins' images out of the latest Blade Runner, everyone I've seen, it's like, oh, why didn't I do that? Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, he shot it spherical in comparison to...
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure about that. I understand why, but I think I understand why. And I'm really not a fan of that blue streak anamorphic look. But the way that the anamorphics go out of focus, the change in the bokeh, I find much nicer than spherical lenses. And I've got a comparison on my website of a 75mm cropped, so it gives exactly the same frame, anamorphic and regular lens. And it's just a focus pull of a model, exactly the same shot. And the one on the anamorphic just looks so much nicer. Now, maybe that's because I grew up with film and anamorphic lenses, but I don't think so. I think it just looks prettier. Thing we were talking about before. You're not paid to make accurate pictures, you're paid to make pretty pictures.
They think, okay, I'll use the same lens. No, that's not how it works. This is integrated into the whole fabric of this work. These lenses were new, that's what it was. The idea that somehow you go back to find some magic out of something that somebody did magic with is not necessarily going to happen like that. But that's a beautiful image, isn't it, for me? It's dark, light, colour, everything. Well, he's got a soft light, softish light here, hasn't he? He's got probably a blonde through a 4x4 frame, that kind of thing. And he's got something hard that was coming through that corner that's kicking into the smoke. Almost certainly he's got some space light up there, putting a little bit of ambient, possibly coming this way a little bit of ambient backlight on him. Look there, you see. They're quite fond of using a big source and then taking it down. I never really got onto that. I always try to use exactly the size I want. But because I've always tended to have been on the lower budget and never having that sort of luxury of having more than I absolutely need. Yeah, that's the old anamorphic flare from the old lenses. And people kind of go over the top on that now. They think that's very trendy and very... we had some... one of the film school projects had taken a lot of trouble to shoot on these old lenses. It was like, you know what? Concentrate on your story.